Hello, you are joining me 48 hours into our latest session. So, what can I say about it so far? We've been fishing a gravel pit. The weather's been up and down. Got our usual 3 rods out. We found some decent spots from leading around. You can also use a bait boat here, so we did use a deeper to help us find some spots that we might want to use. The first day when we got here, the weather was clear and sunny. Really felt like we should have had a bite. The carp were cruising about. We did capture them in the drone as well. As you'd expect this time of year, as soon as there's some decent sunshine, the carp have all moved into the shallower water. And Steve did manage to capture some fish that, as usual, were on the opposite side of the lake to where we are. So there's some really good footage of these carp rooting about. And then the weather changed really. So 12 hours in, no action on the rods at all. As it got dark in the evening, the fajitas were on the stove and a couple of beers were consumed. And obviously discussing tactics, did we need to change anything? We both felt like there was no need to panic. You know, winter fishing can all be about feeding spells. The weather had been nice, and we did wonder whether the bright conditions in the day had maybe put the carp off, made them a bit warier. So we were quite confident of a bite through the night. So we thought, we're not going to rethink what we're doing. You know, as all of you know, you can start second guessing. You can start changing things that don't need changing. I fished this lake quite a lot, quite confident in my approach. So we decided to stay as it was. We just after dark, we rebaited, we reset the rods for the night, settled back, had a bit of a chill out really. And then just before midnight, the first action of the session happened. Pretty soon after the take, it was clear that it wasn't a carp, and a 13-pound bream slipped over the landing net cord, which I'm never disappointed in seeing. As a kid growing up watching John Wilson, double-figured bream was a fish of my dreams, so I'm never disappointed when those happen, even though it did wake me from my slumber. But the rod was put back out, rebaited, and unfortunately, as we clicked into 24 hours in, there was no further action, and the weather changed quite significantly overnight. Temperature dropped a little bit, the sun disappeared, and we woke up to quite a grey, miserable, overcast day yesterday morning. I did start to question whether we'd chosen the wrong venue, I'm not going to lie. But I also know that this venue has been fishing pretty well recently over winter. So we decided, as usual, me and Steve, we'd stick it out to the bitter end. And to be honest, we were both still confident of a bite. Just as we were cooking our breakfast, the right-hand rod went into meltdown. But once again, after lifting the rod into the fish, it was pretty clear it wasn't a carp. And a 5-pound tinker grey star landing net. So again, rods were reset, breakfast was consumed, lunchtime came and went with no further action. But then again, within an hour, so just after 2 o'clock, rod went into meltdown, picked up the middle rod, and it was definitely met with a lot more resistance than the other first 2 fish. And I was pleased to catch my first 20-pound carp of the session. As often happens in winter, and as we've talked about before, we put the rod back out, and within an hour, I was into my second carp. So within an hour, we went from 0 to having a 20 and an upper 19-pounder in the lake. And these were not one of the recently introduced fish. These are stock that have come through. So they were very rare fish to catch here, actually. Not long after we'd put the second carp back in, 2 things happened. One, I discovered that I'd forgotten the rolls for our planned hot dog tea. And 2, it started to rain. and the rain was relentless, and it did not stop for over 10 hours, which really was what we didn't want. You know, lots of extra rain into what already is quite a flooded lake, and that drop in water temperature again. But as all things happen, I think around 2 o'clock I woke up and the rain had stopped, went back off to sleep. Just after 3:30, the right hand rod went into absolute meltdown. And as you know, with night fishing, it can be a bit of a panic getting out of your sleeping bag, finding your shoes and getting to the rods. But we did it, and we were rewarded with a 37-pound mirror carp, which was excellent. You know, completely saved our session in a lot of ways and was what we come here for. This lake is renowned for its 30-pounders, and they do go to over 40 in here. And as I said, it's had pretty good winter form. So we photographed the fish, we carefully put it back, we put the kettle on, and then we had to retreat to our bivvies again for another 3 hours of pretty relentless rain. Woke up just after 6 o'clock, waited for the light levels to lift, and rebaited all 3 rods with the Hinders bait blitz wafters that we're using on this session, tipped with my favourite winter bait, which is the Beetle B infused maggots. So that's where we are really. So now it's time for me to cook the breakfast and hope for another carp to grace our nets really. After what was pretty much 13 hours of extra water falling into the lake. But we're still hopeful of a bite. We've got until probably 5 o'clock tonight, so we've got a few hours yet. And I find that there is a good window between 10 and 12 and then 2 and 5 on this lake. Recently I've been doing quite well, so relatively confident. So on this session, we're fishing one of my local syndicates and a water I've fished frequently for the last 7 years, and that's Aspen Lake Fisheries. This lake is set in 30 acres of mature, unspoilt Cotswold countryside. The fishery itself features a 23-acre syndicate lake that I'm fishing today. The lake itself has a 10-acre island, and there's also an approximately half an acre day ticket lake on the fishery as well. This water is by no means a runs water, but it does have around 100 carp which go to over 47 pounds. So the most recent lake record is well over 47 pounds. There are at least 4 known forties in this lake. I've been lucky enough to catch the second biggest, which was just over 44. But the stock in here average upper 20s to low 30s. Usually 1 in 3 fish caught by the anglers is a good 30-pounder. So it's a great place to spend your time on the bank. Aspen Lake, as I said, is a syndicate lake, and if you'd like to chance to fish this well-run fishery, search for Aspen Lake Fisheries on Facebook or visit the website, and the details will be posted below. During October, the owners also stocked 10 VS Fisheries C5 fish into the lake to help maintain the stocking levels and ensure the lake stays fit and healthy for the future. This winter has seen multiple catches of carp, and it's been its best winter for many years catch-wise. Anyway, Steve's looking hungry, so I'd better get cooking the breakfast and then think about resetting the rods, and we'll put in some clips on the bait that we're preparing and how we're using it on this trip. And hopefully I'll see if I can make contact with another Aspen carp.
If you've made it this far, a big thank you for sticking with us. This session definitely wasn't straightforward, but Mark kept confidence in his bait choice, and that consistency paid off. Having fished the lake for many years, Mark's go-to bait is blitz, switching over to the Nut 365 during the colder months. Both baits proved their worth once again, showing just how important confidence and experience on a venue can be. Stay tuned for the full bait prep, which is coming next. If you've enjoyed this video, please don't forget to subscribe, give it a like and drop us a comment, as we really do appreciate your support.
So, bait for this session, and it's been a successful session so far. We've had 3 carp, a 13-pound bream and a 5-pound tinker as well. But bait for here at Aspen Lake normally is focused around the blitz. It's no secret, it's one of my favourite baits of all time. And this is how we prepare it for here, for the spod mix when I'm casting, and also you can use a boat here as well, so it's ideal for that. So what I normally do, I've been here for 2 nights, so we're using a bag of the whole boilies straight in. But what I also like as well is I like to have lots of bits and particles around. So what I've been doing is using the Ridge Monkey grinder, and we've been putting some boilie in here as well. So what I have been doing is colouring the mix slightly. So I'm using predominantly the blitz, so put half a kilo of that in there. But what I have been doing as well, just to have a fleck of colour, is to add some of the Nut 365 as well, which is another awesome winter bait and has had good success here as well. So we'll grind all this up. It's an awesome bit of kit. Gets it done, gets the job done really quick, and it just gives all that fine particle. I don't want to overfeed the fish this time of year, so putting all of this flavour in instead, I think really helps. And what we do, once this is all ground up, we'll add some of the liquid food, the blitz liquid food, and I like to put a couple of scoops of the multi-mix in as well, and then just a little bit of lake water, just to dampen it down a bit and make sure that bait gets to the bottom quite quick. The lake here normally is 4 to 5, maybe 6 foot, but it's carrying 2 to 3 foot of floodwater at the moment, so it's that much deeper. So I want my mix to get down on the bottom quick and not get washed away. So a bit of the blitz multi-mix in there with some lake water or particle juice you can use helps a lot. So this is what we're left with. Smells lovely. Then all I'll do is I'll stodge that down with a good glug of the food liquid, as I said, multi-mix in there, and then on the hook, and I'll show you what the rigs we're using, but we're using the new Blitz dumbbell wafters, just tipped with some maggots. I will add some maggots to this just before I spot it out as well. You've seen us do this quite a few times before. Maggots in the winter, we always treat them with the betylene B to give them that lovely zesty flavour. So yeah, this is my mix for today. Hopefully we'll have another fish to show you and see how it works. We'll show you how we present this, and as I said, we'll show you the hook baits as well. So it's that time of day I hate, the packing up. Everything has been packed down, it's all piled up ready to go in the back of the van. And that brings an end to another session really, but depends how you look at it, whether it's successful or not. I think it was. We had 3 carp to 37 pound, 13 pound bream. We only managed an extra tench this afternoon. Sorry for the lack of updates, but the weather's been pretty horrendous again. Quite a lot of heavy showers, so every time we ventured out to do an update, we had to take cover again. But the rods are still out. We've probably got 10-15 minutes maybe of light left, so there's always a chance until those rods go back in the van. But we've had a good session here at Aspen Lake. You know, it's winter fishing, definitely feeding spells over the few days. The weather's thrown quite a lot at us, so it's been hard in that respect, but numerous changes of clothes. But we've had some fish, so I'm chuffed to bits. You know, a 37 pound carp on a winter session is not to be sneezed at. We've done well. We will be out again in the next couple of weeks. We'll probably be doing day sessions. Our local commercial water's reopened, so we may well go there and try that for a day, doing some feeder fishing. So keep watching. We thank you for your viewing time again. We do appreciate it, and we'll see you on the next one.